Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Myself Sarvesh Sargavkar and today's topic will be contextual security architecture. So let's get started. So when it comes to contextual security architecture, we often want to think in terms of why modern business activities are dependent on information and communication technology. Modern business activities are able to leverage computing systems and expand their global presence as well as improve stakeholder experiences through the use of technology. But unfortunately, these business drivers also possesses risk to the business if they are not properly managed. Thus, focusing on how information security enables business activities that would otherwise be too risky help us to come up with business drivers for security architecture. So, before directly jumping onto the contextual security architecture, we first need to understand few fundamental concepts. So, what is security architecture? Security architecture is nothing but the art and science of designing and supervising the construction of business systems, usually business information systems, which are free from damage, danger, fear, care, and are not likely to be fail and able to be relied upon. So ultimately, it is a set of security principles, methods, and models designed to align or cope up with your objectives and help keep your organization safe from cyber attacks. So now that we know what is security architecture, let us know about SAPSA. So what is SAPSA? SAPSA stands for Sherwood Applied Business Security Architecture. SAPSA model is a framework and methodology for developing business operational risk-based architecture. It is nothing but the methodology for developing a business-driven risk and opportunity-focused security architecture and for delivering security solutions that traceably support the business requirements. SAPSA model consists of six layers as we can see into the diagram. First is contextual, second is conceptual, third is logical, then physical, then component, and the last one is security service management architecture. Next topic is SAPSA life cycle. So it consists of strategy and concept phase, then comes to design and implement phase, and then manage and measure phase. For now, we will be discussing about strategy and concept phase. In this, you first begin with by collecting business requirements. It consists of two security architecture. One is contextual and second is conceptual. So strategy and concept phase strategy and concept phase, the information that would be gathered in this particular phase with the help of six questions. So whatever information that we are going to get by help of these six questions which we are going to ask, it is SAPSA matrix, that is what are the assets to be protected or why are we going to do it. Now comes our contextual security architecture. So contextual security architecture means textual information which we can gather from our previous experiments or experiences. So business strategy, objectives, relationships, risk, constraints, and enablers all tell you much about what sort of security architecture the organization needs. So the contextual security architecture relates to and is dependent on context in which the security architecture will be created and used, the conditions and circumstances in which you need the security in your business. So basically this means that you must investigate examine and analyze all the aspects of the business of your organization that create a need of security and uses this context to drive your thinking at subsequent layers. So let's study a case study about a remote access of an electrical power plant. Some government officials visit an electrical power plant in a small island economy where there is only one small electricity company that owns only one generating plant. The company is friendly, family sort of place, and everyone gets on well together in a professional and efficient way. However, they are not really exposed to some dirtier aspects of life in bigger world. During the conversations, they proudly explained to us that how they are complete the control of plant and computerized control room. More than that, Harry, the deputy power plant manager who is bit of whiz with ICT, could now control the plant from his laptop computer in the living room at home, dialing up to the control room. So the official asked him that what sort of security do you have to protect that? They had never considered the question before. The benefits were clear, but risks were out. So some of you will be reading and thinking this does not apply to us because we do not have any manufacturing processes. Well, extend that thinking just a bit and question yourself these questions that do you run a data communication network, do you run remote computer systems, do you have a network management center and perhaps a system management center, do you have standard network management protocols such as SMP1 version 1 for managing your network? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you have a remote process control problem. Network management using SNMP is a classic case. The only mechanism of SNMP version 1 to authenticate these messages is a fixed password called the community name, which is sent in clear text with no encryption and which is common to a group of devices. So if someone wants to take over your network, like for example close it down, so all they have to need is to intercept that message and either change existing SNMP messages or insert their own SMP messages, and they can take over the control of your network. This is a major vulnerability of which many organizations seem to unaware. So, what is the summary overall? The summary is security is not really an issue so long as the electronic control mechanisms are all contained locally within the physical secured enclosed plant. A hacker can potentially intercept and hijack this remote communications and take over the plant. Now, security is a major concern. So in this case study, we only looked onto the part of network side, but there are many other aspects involved into this. In order to in order to understand them, we will have to look into developing contextual security architecture with the help of this diagram. So as we can see here, there are 6 processes in total. So first one will be implemented with the help of business attribute, which are nothing but the collection of business drivers, goals, and objectives. So the first process starts with gathering, accessing, and analyzing business requirements. Then comes the second, which describes business. Third one is extract other requirements. While extracting the requirements, we will need to remember about SAPSA matrix. all the questions, such as where are the implementing it, the location specifically, which stands for the business geography model. Then, when we are implementing it, means time related aspect, which is nothing but the time dependency model. Then, what are the organization model? How are they going to process it? Which is business process model? Then, and lastly, if we want to analyze business risk, we should have a threat database that would give me the information about what are the threats present in my system. So here input is threat database. If we need to analyze the risk, we should always know about the threats. So here input is been given as threat database, and based on threat database we are analyzing the business risk. And after analyzing the business risk, we have given it to an output model. Output model has been derived, which is called as business risk model. So basically, business risk model is an output model that is derived with the help of process and input method that is called as threat database, and analyze business risk, which we have derived from business risk model. So this is the way to this is the way which works with contextual security architecture. So the conclusion will be there are many business goals and success factors that are protected by information technology architecture, and many operational risks that are mitigated. The most important of these goals include brand protection, fraud prevention, loss prevention, business continuity management, strategic business development, fulfilling legal obligations, and maintaining the confidence of stakeholders. So the SAPSA business risk model is business driven, with which each of the business driver being derived from a detailed examination of your business activities. The SAPSA business attribute profile help to begin this process, as well as the core business activities. You must also examine your business processes, your organizational structure, and the relationship with the organizations, the location dependence of your business and its dependency. So these are the references, and thank you for watching the video till the end. Much appreciated. Thank you so much.